Hi, this is Mike Tranchina with EHR TV, and we're at his talk party, HIMSS10, and I'm with Bill OToole from the OToole Law Group. Hi, Bill.
Good evening.
Tell me about your work here in the healthcare industry.
My recent firm launched it last year. I cater to hospitals and IT companies, as long as there's no conflict, to help out navigate the intricacies of healthcare IT law and contracting. If it's a hospital, how do they get the best deal out of the vendor? If it's a vendor, how do they protect themselves and do due diligence to take care of the things they need to take care of? And as long as there's no conflict between the hospital and the company, meaning specifically, then I can support either side. That's where it gets a little bit tricky, but in essence, I've done this for 25 years. I was with Meditech formerly, and I was corporate counsel at Meditech for 20 years, and I dealt with 2,000 hospitals, consultants, law firms, across the United States, Canada, and the world. So basically I can, do either side as long as there's no conflict and try to help each side get what they need.
So do you do work more for larger organizations like hospitals and large practices, or do you work with smaller practices?
I do everything from the small, tiny hospital to the huge chains, physician groups, independent physician with a side IT company, over to software companies in and around the IT field. Most of my IT company clients are the small ones, in and around the large ones, the niche vendors, and they come to me and say, hey, do you know how to do this, that, and the other thing? And I say, I do, because I've done it for 20 years. So it's been a nice bonus to my practice.
So are you working mainly on contract type negotiations and contract preparation, or is there litigation, or what kind of specific law?
No litigation. I'm not a litigator. Mostly contract and business advice. I mean, I've had firms come up to me to say, this isn't a legal need, but this is a healthcare IT need.
Right.
And you've been in it for so long. Can you help guide us? And that's been yet another surprising avenue of the business, and I'm delighted to have it. I didn't really see it coming, but it's been wonderful.
Mm-hmm. So can you give me an example of a project that you worked on with a client that you were able to really help them save money, prevent them from making a major mistake? Obviously, keep it generic because, but obviously,
I don't have any choice.
So yeah,
as an attorney.
I know that. So, so can you give me an idea to really specifically give someone an idea, a picture of how you can really help? Obviously, people have to, the clients have to invest a lot of money in an attorney, so it has to pay. So
one of the more important examples I can give is roughly a 20 hospital chain going to a huge project, with a huge vendor. So there's a lot of things kicking around, and what do you need to lay out as a customer? The very technical person knows what they need very technically. The attorney in-house knows the things they think they need in general, and then you get the CFO who thinks they need X, Y, Z for financial terms. Try to put all that together into a condensed package to go to the vendor that they want, and they want the deal to succeed. That's the real key right there. To say, okay, you want all these things, some things you might get, some you won't. You try to really refine it, hone it down to a package that the vendor should be able to accept. The next step is obviously not mine, but to get it to an acceptable package. It may be asking a lot, but if it's well tailored, it should be successful.
It's got to be win-win.
In theory, yeah.
I mean, in theory.
Ideally, hopefully, if you do all that tailoring to get it exactly, to cover the exact things you need, must have, and some things you might want, while recognizing the vendor is not going to do whatever you ask or want. Mm-hmm. They have to protect themselves as well.
A lot of negotiating.
You put all that together, try to present a good package, and hopefully turns out okay.
Now, do you do negotiating?
Yes.
On behalf of your clients as well?
That's my life's blood, yes.
Okay, so you're not only in the background, sometimes you have attorneys that are working in the background.
Right.
You're actually working on behalf to do the negotiating, prepare the contracts, and at the end of the day, the client signs the deal.
Right.
But you make sure they get the best value, the best deal, protect them, reduce the risk, and
fully advise them on the risks, the costs. they know the cost, the dollars and cents, but the overall cost. Advise them of everything. Say, yes, you can sign this, or no, you can't. They can still override me.
Right.
I shouldn't say no, you can't. My recommendation is you shouldn't, but they still might.
Right.
And that's always a possibility. But
now, I imagine that hospitals and large practices have attorneys that they have, retained for general.
absolutely, yeah.
You are a specialist in HIT, and I would think that they may believe that their attorney that they have retained, that may not be an expert in HIT, could handle some of the chores that you're working on. Tell me why your specific expertise is really worthwhile to go outside of their network to go after and find, rather than working with their local attorney that they've already worked with.
Well, this is no doubt blowing my own horn, but in my 20 years as counsel for Meditech, I dealt with 2,000 hospitals.
Wow.
2,000 attorneys, 2,000 consulting firms, 2,000 CFOs. Add it all up, that's a wealth of input. I'm not saying I agree with all of them all the time, or even any of the time, but just
experience.
Who else has that amassed, input? So I like to think that I did well by all of them. Some didn't get to closure, and that's the way it goes. But that was really, honestly, very few for me and for Meditech. I was proud of the work I did at Meditech, and I'm stand by it. And I'm happy that I was there.
I would think that there aren't very many attorneys that have your level of experience in the marketplace. Would you agree with that?
I would.
And tell me, you are, I could be Mr.
I could be.
But we will find that out later, or
I've been in the industry for 25 years, and I could be.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward to hearing more about your
Thank you.
Your business. This is Mike Tranchino with EHR TV.